It is so wonderful to see you all, and I'm so excited for this conversation because it really blends the two themes that we were just hearing about: data, how do you use scientific rigor, how do you use it across your organization to address issues that your organization is trying to grapple with. In this case, we're going to talk about how it really applies to cultural change. The program that you just saw introduced in that little sizzle video is called Content for Change. It is part of Paramount's program to really systemically look at its programming and its production values and marry them with its ESG mission. It's a great program, and it applies across, it started with BET, but now applies across the entire company. So brands like MTV, CBS Interactive, CBS, Showtime, Nickelodeon, and more. I am so thrilled to have their leader of ESG and corporate responsibility, Crystal Barnes. Crystal, so great to have you here. Thank you.
Nice to be here, and hopefully that little sizzle hyped you all up, gave you some energy.
Yeah. It's an important program. I'm very acutely aware of it for reasons of my own, which I will tell you about later, not on stage.
Over cocktails.
Over cocktails, yes. But how does this really marry, and how is it part of your ESG mission? I'm like, where did it come from as far as, like, why was this an important thing for you to do as a company?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the S for us. And we often say we get busy in the S because we are a media and entertainment company. And so, as you mentioned, Content for Change started by BET post the murder of George Floyd to really honestly hold a mirror up to ourselves and understand the role that media and entertainment plays in stereotypes and biases that exist within content and narratives that we produce. And so that mission was something that incubated in BET, but then we very quickly realized that it was something that we needed to take across our entire portfolio, right? You listed a lot of the brands that are under the Paramount umbrella, which I hope you all love, but we have from kids to great grandparents in our audiences. And so we have a unique opportunity to bring the mission of Content for Change, looking at the content that we create as a company, looking at our creative supply chain, so everyone that's in the middle of that, from concept to content and all the people in between, to the culture that we breed, both internally and externally. And when you take a holistic view of that, that is a big part of the S for us as a company, because we have a responsibility, as you all imagine, to authentically reflect the audiences that we serve. So we needed to take a step back. We have a long legacy and history of talking about topics and issues that are uncomfortable in many spaces, but we bring them to light within our organization, but we needed to take it a step further. And so that's the mission of Content for Change, to look at that entire end-to-end creation of content.
So when you were trying to scale this, right? I mean, what research was going to inform this? Where is that research coming from, right? So it's not just saying, let's do this, let's represent this way. You're actually really looking closely at all the data. And you came from, I should mention, she used to be at Nielsen, so that's important.
Media research geek. So it's insights and data are the baseline and framework for every single thing that we do, to your point. And so for us, it was, again, holding that mirror up. What does representation currently look like within our own content? And so we have a research project going right now with USC Annenberg to look at a 62 series across all of Paramount to figure out, where do we stand, right? Part of understanding where you want to go is realizing where you are right now. And so that research study helped us to do that. It's also one thing to have more Black and brown faces in your media and entertainment and your content, but then what do the portrayals look like, right? So there's representation and then there's portrayals. And then when you marry the two of those, you're able to then make data and insights inform decisions around your content. And that's the piece that I mean about taking it a step further. It's what instinct is one thing, and we've done quite well in making decisions on instinct, but it's now time to make decisions based on insight.
So can you give us a couple of examples?
Yeah, so one of my favorites, MTV Entertainment Group, has a project called Mental Health is Health. And they started with the research and the insights, to your point. And so they found that 92% of adults would like to see mental health represented in content. 92%. However, only 7% of main characters dealt with a mental health condition within their content. 7%. And so there's a disconnect there. And so Content for Change then gave us the inspiration to look at storylines and topics and issues that either weren't represented as often as they should be or as authentically as they should be, and make some decisions. So they went on a mission. One of their kind of targets and goals is to double the amount of storylines connected to mental health. And they're on that journey right now. And the piece of it, again, the media research in me is the measurement and the evaluation of it all. And so it's one thing to do this work. It's one thing to do the research and insights. It's one thing to change your content, but to infuse it into your measurement and evaluation is really where
how does that create value?
Yeah, so for us, it creates value in that we not only speak about it, but we are about it, right? Like we do it. And so creating value is taking that process and infusing it into our business model. ESG and sustainability, as we all know, as sustainability practitioners, can't be an add-on. It has to be embedded into your business strategy. And so being able to measure and evaluate your progress over time for us has been key in figuring out how we advance our resources within ESG, how we put human capital against ESG, and how we are consistent in bringing ESG into our business.
So how you're measured against it, that applies to your culture, corporate culture. So how did you move let's take two different sets of people, your employees, towards this? Like what was the training like? What was the resistance? Was there resistance? Was there embrace?
So I would say that a large majority of our employees at Paramount are thrilled because this is not something that started at the center and now is spreading its way to the ends of our organization. It's something that everyone within Paramount can plug into because, again, I said it's end to end. So it's from concept to content and all of the people that are a part of that process in between. So it has provided a sense of pride for us all because it's a personal journey for me, but then also a personal journey for a lot of our employees. And they feel as though what they do every single day plugs into that mission. And this is an all boats rise exercise. And so they feel, vested in that journey.
So it's an all boats rise. So how is it applied to your production partners and the people that help you produce that content? How are you extending it out? And again, what has the reaction been?
Yep. So it's a great point and great question. We do a lot of work internally through our Office of Global Inclusion to do all the things, trainings, and we have councils and a diversity council and Steerco, but extending that to our supply chain and our partners was important. And so the culture aspect of Content for Change is what really looks into that, right? It's an extension of doing what we do internally for our own employees, but extending it to our talent and to everyone else that's in the kind of content creation life cycle.
Can you give me an example again?
Yeah, so we have a culture orientation that was, again, started by MTVE. And it's something that is extended to our talent. So they go through this entire process of understanding what our diversity, equity, and inclusion goals are, understanding the role that they play as an extension of our brand as being a part of the Paramount family. And it's something that we have started, again, this pilot to scale model. We started within MTV, but then took it across our entire organization. And so up next actually is our Nickelodeon group, and they are embracing the culture orientation because, again, kids and family is a totally different audience, but it's an opportunity to have multi-generational conversations, which is really exciting for us as a media company.
And you've also extended this out to some internship programs, if I remember correctly.
Yes, our Content for Change, great memory, our Content for Change Academy. So that's the piece of it that's connected to the supply chain of it all, right? It's about the pipelining. And so we found that there was a really great opportunity within our pipeline kind of program portfolio to look at specifically for individuals who did not go to a four-year college or university, because as you can imagine, in producing content, we have all sorts of jobs that you can apply for. And so we started that, I guess, almost 2 years ago now. We had 7 to 10 candidates that have gone through it and are now expanding it to Canada and LA because it gives them all the things, the mentorship, job placement, career coaching, all the things that then helps to break the barriers that a lot of folks have faced entering into our industry. So looking at the pipeline is a huge piece of Content for Change as well.
And I just want to mention, there was a Super Bowl ad on Sunday that made my husband cry because he felt included. So I want to ask you, what does inclusion mean for you? Is it, you mentioned obviously, and I think you said when we were talking that you way overcorrected, you overcorrected in certain areas and then realized you had to address this mental health issue as well. So how do you define inclusion?
First of all, this is a journey. We don't have it right, and we continue to get to a point where hopefully things like Content for Change will allow us to get to where we want to be as a company. We've done a lot of great things, correct? But there's a lot of road to go. And so for inclusion for us is ensuring that folks can see themselves in the content that's reflected across the various screens in which you view it on. And it's a journey for the entire media and entertainment industry, but it will happen when we make insights and data-driven decisions. And so it's one of the things that I love about our industry, and that it's competitive in that we do have competitors, but we're all looking to reflect our audiences accurately.
Yeah. So that, we don't have a lot of entertainment companies in the room, so lots of different industries represented. So how could they apply some of these concepts to their own organizations? And secondarily, how are you sharing it with the industry, right?
Yep.
You're just one company.
Number one, being transparent. We know this one quite well as ESG practitioners, being transparent. The data that we receive from Annenberg and Stanford, our plan and thus far has been to open source it to the industry. Again, it's not something that we intend to be precious about. It's something that we want all boats to rise. So that's first and foremost. But just, again, ensuring that everything that we do is rooted in the mission of Content for Change, to advance content in a way that will allow us to be able to look back, whether it be from children to great-grandparents and everything in between. That is our real goal and focus around the initiative.
I can't believe we're done. Crystal, thank you so much for coming. We are out of time, but I really appreciate you sharing your vision.
Of course. Thanks for having me.